Hey y'all, welcome to Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Today we'll be counting down, in my opinion, the top 5 best WWE Basic Women's figures. Now to fit the criteria, I wanted to make sure that I own these figures. That way I can get a closer look and really make a fair judgment. That being said, when I add to my collection in the future, I can expand on this list. And for those of you out there who don't know what basics are basically the lower price point, usually lower quality figure compared to WWE Mattel Elites. So that being said, let's start off with some honorable mentions. Honorable mention, Sasha Banks, Basic Series 96 and Series 80. So I previously covered all of Sasha Banks' releases in my Sasha Banks figure history video, so check that out if you haven't already. But she has had some pretty fantastic basics, and these two in specifics, especially in her ring attire. So on the left, we have Basic Series 80, which is just in this blue and orange, pretty simple. Now the one that really stands out to me is Basic Series 96 from the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. The paint detail and overall likeness of Sasha is stunning. So if you're looking for a Sasha Basic, I'd go with one of these two. Honorable mention, Alicia Fox, Basic Series 23, released in 2012. This Alicia Fox figure is simply amazing, honestly. Now the thing that pops the most on this is this little fox hood, which is a plastic molded unique piece, and it is removable. Now even when you take that off, you can see that her attire, both the top and bottom, is molded in great detail, and even the straps and that upper extremity has a thick molding to it. And the silver intricate paint detail is nice too. So this figure as a basic, it has so much quality that I wish that quality would carry over into 2020's basic figures. Number 5, Natalya, Basic Series 61, released in 2016. So this figure of Natty is simply awesome. The face scan is very good in the likeness to her. They even included a little pink spot in her hair, and also those pink lips really stand out. Now the first thing you're going to notice with this figure is this little shoulder piece here, which is completely molded detail. And it's pretty amazing to look at, honestly. And even looking closer to that, you can see the paint detail with the silver and pink is pretty stunning. Now moving on beyond that, she has elite level molding, I would say, all over this body. You look at her gauntlets here, and it's a black glove type mold with little silver studs. Her top has silver studs on there. And then if you look at her little bodysuit too, I mean, it has molded detail all over. And I know I keep using that word, but it's truly remarkable to see this on a basic. So I also like how they had a little off-black color paint application on the front here to simulate it being see-through, which works really well. Now, like I said in my honorable mention, Alicia Fox, I really wish they put this much detail in today's women basics. But to me, this is an elite style figure in basic form. So this is absolutely great. Number 4, Nia Jax Basic Series 79, released in 2017. Now this Nia Jax figure rules. There's no way around it. She is one of the most toyetic women in the WWE and has had a few figures released, with each one being an absolute home run in my opinion. I'll actually be reviewing her Elite 65 figure pretty soon, but for now we'll focus on this Basic Series 79 because this is unreal. Now this face scan is just spot on. And to me, she has probably one of the top scans of all the wrestlers in the WWE. I mean, this looks just like her. Now what I also love about this figure is its overall uniqueness. So this body mold was obviously made for her and it looks awesome. It works great. And I also like on her shoulders, she has these little molded pads. And also on her little sides. And she does have a little extra molded detail, like this silver and black design in the center and on the back. But yeah, overall, this figure rules. I actually can't wait to review that Elite because it looks perfect. So we'll see when I get it out of the box. But if you can't get a hold of that Elite, I would definitely go for one of the basics. Number 3, AJ Lee Basic Series 53, released in 2015. Alright, so hear me out. I know I said in my AJ Lee Elite review that I preferred Basic Series 30 over this Basic Series 53. But if you're going for overall Elite type quality in a basic, like we have seen so far in this countdown, then Basic Series 53 AJ Lee is the way to go. I recently picked this up and didn't realize the extreme detail in this figure until I looked up close. Now we will start off with that face that I wasn't too crazy about. It does look really plain and kind of bizarre, a little average, but it's really not as bad as it looked in the pictures. And I think the hair is nice. That's random, but it is. It works for her. Now, going into the real sharp details of this figure, starting off with that shirt, I mean, this is a unique mold to her. And honestly, her past basics or other basics that use that t-shirt mold, also in a battle pack, it was the one that they reused on the Liv Morgan Elite, and it made her shoulders look real high up to where she had no neck, and her torso was long. It looked awkward. So this shirt mold works awesome. Now, looking close at that little ribcage painted on there, the detail's stunning. And even if you look close at that spider, it's got a little red web that goes up on the shirt. I mean, that's crazy, right? So on this right wristband, it has AJ, and on the left, it has a little spider design. The lower extremity is nothing to write home about. It's just a painted on jean short, but it looks good. Now the knee pads have the double white stripes, and these boots are awesome. It's her Converse style signature boots, this time with red laces. So yeah, I know I wasn't dogging this figure before, but I wasn't as big of a fan of this as I was Basic 30. But when I looked at this up close, I mean, this is elite level quality on a basic figure. Number 2, Liv Morgan Basic Series 110, released in 2020. Anyone who watched my review of this Basic 110 Liv Morgan when I first got her from ringside would probably assume I'd put her at number 1. But surprisingly, there's another one that I think is even better than this, an older one. However, that being said, I absolutely love this Basic. I mean, this is one of my favorite figures of all time. And the only thing that holds it back from being number 1 is the lack of molding on this figure. So as you can tell with the top, it's just paint application. Same with the bottoms. Now, I won't go into great detail because I do have that full-length review, but I will say that it's not as huge of an issue on her because they did a really clean application with the paint and even added little details like the Live His Life on the waistband. But yeah, this overall likeness to her is awesome and it really pops on the shelf. But that being said, let's get to my surprise number 1. And number 1, Summer Rae, Basic Series 50, released in 2015. Alright y'all, so here she is, my number 1 pick for the best basic women's wrestling figure. Now I know it might seem like a random pick, but I'm telling you, when I opened her up from her package, there were angels singing in the background. It was that glorious. Now let's take a closer look and see exactly what makes it so perfect. So this face scan is spot on. It looks just like Summer Rae. They even included little details like her blue eyes, and that smile is identical to her smile in real life. Now moving on to her attire, she has a hard plastic red top with that fringe molded on, little silver intricate paint details. And her bottoms is a softer type plastic, again with that molded fringe and little silver details all the way around. And moving down to her legs, she has these thigh-high kind of boot coverings type fringe sleeve, and it is molded on. But it looks great and is really unique. Now, a little detail that I noticed is the top is a hard plastic, the bottom is a soft plastic. And a lot of times when they try to match the color on those contrasting materials, it just doesn't match up. But this red looks perfect. I mean, it's not off at all. So honestly, this figure checks all the boxes for me. It looks just like her, the attire's unique, it really pops on the shelf, and to me, this is an elite quality figure in basic form. So this to me is number 1. I absolutely love this figure, and I would highly suggest any wrestling figure collector, not just women's division, but I suggest any wrestling figure collector go out and try to find it. It's that good. Thanks for checking out my list of my top 5 best women's basic women's wrestling figures by Mattel. Let me know in the comments what makes your top 5 list. And thanks for stopping by Lumberjillville. Women's wrestling lives here. Make sure to hit like and subscribe and join the community. There's plenty of reviews to come. Have a good night, y'all.